creepy.
You can almost smell the factories. Smells like childhood.
Smell-o-vision.
Look how spiffy.
Right? Cheyenne did an amazing job.
You bent? It's an event.
That font.
Well, welcome, guys, to Hollerween 2020. We're going to kick off the Pinnacle Entertainment question and answer panel, and hopefully we'll get to all your questions. Joining us on screen is Shane Hensley himself up top.
Did you just call us Pineapple Entertainment?
No, Pinnacle? All right. I don't know. I mean, this is water. I swear. There is nothing else but just ice and water in here. We've got Simon.
Hi.
We've got Jess and Jody.
Hello.
So during the panel, we've got a bunch of giveaways for you guys from our various virtual tabletop partners and from Pinnacle Entertainment. So in the chat, Chelsea from the Con Crew is going to be dealing cards to all of our players. So if you're a Game Master watching on Crowdcast or Twitch, just type a comment that says Game Master and Chelsea will give you a card. And if you're a player, type player. And she'll be dealing out cards during the event, and you guys can have your choice. We've got Dawn of the Kaiju for Roll20, and we've got 3 great products for Fantasy Grounds, and we'll get to the goes in a second before we start giving those away. But and foremost, Shane, why don't you lead us off with what's coming in the new year for Pinnacle Entertainment?
Okay, coming in the next year or the next few months from Pineapple Entertainment. Well, there's a lot, my friends. In case you haven't seen them, we've been doing 32 pagers for a while, and there's quite a few of those that are out that you might not have seen. And we did Ripper's Amazon Expedition, Ripper's South Pacific Expedition just shipped. Dawn of the Daikaiju is out, which is super cool. You actually get to play the giant monsters. We did a monster book with his Savage Tales in it for ETU. What's the other one, Jess? Last Parsec. We did Scavenger's Guide, Salvager's Guide. I'm missing one, Jess. What was it?
Well, we have one that's not. We have a couple that aren't out yet.
The Juggernaut.
Yeah, but we've got
Juggernauts.
50 Fathoms, and yeah.
Oh, and 50 Fathoms, right.
50 Fathoms.
Written by Daryl Hayhurst, who I think is lurking out there in the darkness somewhere. So those are all out already, and if you haven't seen them, I highly recommend them. We print those in the U.S. They come out really quickly, but we don't send them to stores because they're more of a magazine format kind of thing. So you have to get them directly from us. Of course, the PDFs are out there as well. So those are some products that are already out that you might have missed. So let's talk about what's coming. Of course, everybody's most interested in the companions, right? So we've mentioned before that we're working on the 4 core companions at the same time. We don't think we're going to release them at the same time, but they're being worked on at the same time so that everything is compatible. For example, the Stronghold rules in the Fantasy Companion are pretty cool. I think you'll really like them. And we have analogs in horror, sci-fi, and supers. If you're wondering about the Martial Arts Companion, we're going to do that after we reissue the 4 core ones, okay? So fantasy is pretty much rewritten from the ground up. I took a lot of the best ideas Wiggy had, updated them to not only our new system, but kind of our new way of thinking about things. So there's a lot of really cool stuff in there. I think it's the book you've been looking for those of you who want to do everything from Game of Thrones to dungeon crawls. So pretty excited about that. We also hope to be doing pawns for the Fantasy Companion and all of our companions coming out. If you haven't seen them, we did pawns for the newest Deadlands set that we kickstarted recently and is at the printer now. Simon has been in charge of doing that, and we're going to do those for a couple of things coming down the pipe. For example, we have a a source book and adventure also written by Daryl Hayhurst called The Legend of Ghost Mountain that I have been stewing on since Kung Fu Panda came out. So it's been a while. And we play tested it recently. It was fantastic. I posted a little bit of that on Facebook. And right now, we believe that's going to be one of our thin box sets. Actually, Simon, can you hold up Headstone Hill? And can somebody switch over to Simon? There we go. So these are kind of the size of the old Alcadine boxes that TSR used to do, if anybody's familiar with those. They're the same height as our other box sets, so they'll fit very nicely on the shelf. That looks a little washed out, by the way, because those are production copies. Those aren't the print copies. The color's much sharper on the actual print copies. And Simon's going to talk more about those in just a minute. But anyway, Legend of Ghost Mountain will have this source book adventure and pawns in it. We're also working on a set for Flash Gordon that will have pawns in it. And an adventure written by Scott Woodard, who of course wrote the Flash Gordon source books. We're also, Daryl, you've been doing a lot of stuff. Daryl also wrote Necessary Evil 3, which we're super excited about. We all play tested this, oh my gosh, when was it, guys? Last March we finished? It's been a while.
Yeah, I thought it was January this year we finished. Just feels like last March.
This year has just gone on forever. That's
I guess so. We actually started before the pandemic hit, and we finished it on Roll20 afterwards. And it was just a blast. Now, I think everyone can agree probably the best character was mine. Who can resist the black hole? So Necessary Evil 3 is called Cosmic Crisis, and this is our cosmic level source book and plot point campaign for Supers, which of course will come out sometime after the new Supers companion comes out with all the amended and updated powers. And it is a Jack Kirby, Guardians of the Galaxy, Steranko love fest. You know, if you watch the original or read the original Thanatos novels or any graphic novels or any of that kind of stuff, you'll find this very familiar ground, very exciting. There's even kind of a Green Lantern and Nova Corps in there, and yes, you could still be the bad guys and some of the good guys. There's just a really cool backstory for it all. Daryl's put together a hell of an event. We had a blast playing it, and I can't wait to share it with you. Up next is going to be a book for our next Kickstarter before Fantasy Companion, and something really big that's coming next year that we can't talk about just yet is East Texas University Study Abroad. So Jess, tell us about that.
Okay, so ETU Study Abroad, it's kind of exactly what it sounds. You would take your students overseas to see other countries. So instead of just being in plain old Texas, well, in creepy and mysterious Texas, you're going to be in creepy and mysterious other countries. And the four major countries are Italy, Costa Rica, Poland, and the UK. So 4 new countries that you can take your students to have all kinds of new shenanigans. What's really, really cool about this one is that we collaborated with people who actually lived there. So the authors of each section are actually from those countries. I really like that because in the beginning of each section, you're going to learn a little bit about the country and the culture. And that makes the viewpoint of the authors like really important because you're getting a really good source for that information. There's also a new campus for each country. Those are primarily fictional, while the background of the country and the culture are mostly nonfiction. So this is a really good one. If you yourself never got to travel and study abroad as a college student or a high school student, this is your way to kind of live that out. And I never got to do that, so I thought it was really cool to make because it's like, oh yeah, what would I do as a college student in Italy? Or what would I do if there's a castle, in the UK? You know what I mean? So it's pretty cool.
What would you do as a transfer student in Italy being stalked by a vampire?
Yeah, there's that part too. So Texas is not the only place where weird things are happening, and that's kind of what you discover is that just because you leave Texas doesn't mean that the weirdness stops following you.
That's right. Okay, so for Deadlands, Deadlands: The Weird West has been our most successful product since we started, of course. Our Kickstarter was huge, and it just keeps on going in the Pledge Manager. Thank you so much, everybody, for supporting it. The Weird West is obviously very special to us. It's the foundation and the cornerstone of Pinnacle, and we're going to try to, or we're supporting it better than we have in the past, I think. Now that we've grown a little bit, we've got a few more hands on board to help out. So 2 things coming down the pipe for Deadlands already. We've taken John Goff's Blood Drive PDFs, his trilogy of adventures that you might have seen a few years ago. We're updating those, and we're going to print them in a hardback format with a couple of cool extras. So you'll see that coming soon. We're also going to do regional source books for Deadlands. So we've got 4 authors working on Deadlands, Hell on the High Plains, which will be the next big source book release for Deadlands. And we're gonna wait and see how Horrid Headstone Hill does for people once it's out in print. But we're really excited by that format, and we hope to visit other places and do the same kind of thing soon. And that's kind of our it's kind of our equivalent to Paizo's Adventure Paths or something. You know, it's a place where you can really dig in, let the posse roam and grow and take your time and dig into all these really cool adventures on a local level while still affecting the overall backstory, because the fear level across the country is what, you know, our individual posses are looking to lower, right, to defeat the Reckoners. Okay, so speaking of Deadlands, Simon, tell us where we are on the production.
Okay, so production's going great. Everything is at the printers, it's being printed. I'm surrounded by proof sheets and samples, and as you saw the Headstone Hill box earlier on, we also have the box for the pawn set, which is Shane talked about earlier, and then the core box for Deadlands. And as Shane mentioned, these are all low-res proof copies just to make sure that everything lines up, all the text is correct. The production printing is far more vivid. We've got a near production copy of the action deck right here, and you can see it's much more colorful, much richer color. And I'll take a few of these out. You can see this is our action deck, and it is like
Nice.
Ryan Wright has been doing some sweet pictures for the face cards, and then everything else is kind of a glossy black with some bright color on it.
Mm-hmm.
Hey Simon, can you hold that box up again and show them how it opens? So for those who don't know, we do the telescopic box now. So it's really nice and easy to get your stuff out. It's not the old tuck boxes that we used to do, where you would often tear the box when you were trying to get your cards out.
Mm-hmm.
So let me put that to one side. I was tasked with showing you the shiny, and the shiniest thing we have is something that we spend a long time getting right. This is our Marshal's badge.
Woo!
Check that out.
Dropping the badge out. So.
Ooh, that looks
Love the
amazing.
Try and catch it where you can see it without the light.
Mm-hmm.
And it's metal, right? It's
It
actual
is,
metal.
yeah.
Oh, it's a good way to meddle, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, that's kind of an interesting story. So when we first made it, they were a little too heavy, and it would pull your shirt down. So Simon and the guys that we worked with did many iterations to get a really good weight so it feels nice and chunky, but doesn't just pull your shirt off of you.
That's the goal, yeah. So really excited about those. Took a long time just trying to get things just so and thin it down so it's not too much metal. But I think they came out really, really nice. As with all of the other boxes, you'll have a set of Pennies. Let me see, I've got a few here from my game earlier. We've got our Pennies.
Nice.
More Cheyenne Wright artwork.
Yeah.
Trying not to catch the light. Where's
Yep.
my camera going to focus?
Glare.
Yeah. A little hard to see those, but Pennies are. We've got used to making those, so we're good at that. Then there's also our custom wild die that comes with the set. So the core box is going to have this nice blood red wild die with the skull motif on it.
Sweet.
Yeah.
And then one thing that wasn't mentioned in the Kickstarter actually, but we managed to put it in anyway, is that the Headstone Hill box set will also have a custom wild die. If I can open the bag, I'll show you. We didn't announce it because we weren't sure we could fit everything in the box, but we managed to make it work. And so there's a little headstone on the bottom that's coming with that set too.
I like that. That looks really good.
Speaking of Headstone Hill, that is a box I'm really excited about. It's a nice thin format, but it's going to be absolutely crammed with stuff. As you can see on the back, it's going to have the main book, a thin player booklet, and a ton of other material as well.
Maps, handouts, pawns.
We have the 2 sets of cards that come with it. So there's 4 more archetypes in there, in addition to the ones that come in the main set. There's also the set of pawns that Shane was talking about. So this is 1 sheet that comes with Headstone Hill.
Front and back.
Front and back, yeah.
Yeah.
The pawns box set has 8 sheets that size in it, so it's
and that's not the paper that they'd be printed on. They'll be sturdy cardstock when they're done. That's just the proof.
Cardboard.
That was a proof.
Cardboard, yeah.
Yeah. In fact, I have a sample. I don't know. I have a sample somewhere. And then there's also a whole set of handouts that are included. So there's newspaper cuttings, telegraphs, photo, and each one of those is printed on a different kind of weight of paper. So there's a whole range of different feels to each of the handouts, I'm looking forward to seeing how those all turn out. The main box itself also includes our archetype cards. We've got a whole bunch of those, and then there's the core book, which we have the proof of the covers here of the 3 books that were in the Kickstarter. There's the core book, some gorgeous Aaron Riley art, and then we have the solo book, which has the Crater Lake Chronicles solo adventure, and then finally the Weird West Companion. Yeah, so you can see the spot varnish is catching the light a little bit there as well.
Yeah.
So
I love that cover art
that comes to hand. Can you think of anything else we need to show here?
Do you have the die roller by Norse Foundry? The box?
I do. If you give me a second, I can get it. I forgot to mention we have the GM screen as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Love that art.
That art is so amazing.
Yeah. So if
So
you
while
just give me
you're-
one, I'll
Yeah,
nip
you
out
find
and
that, Simon.
I'll get to
So
that.
obviously, Deadlands was our biggest product in terms of all the stuff we're actually making as well. So, we had tons of people working on it, from the artists to cartographers. Oh, we actually should show the town maps. To proofers and editors. It was just a huge project. And I think we're about 2 months behind. Does that sound right, Jody? Maybe 3 almost?
Yeah, 2 months
Yeah.
sound right. Yeah.
Somewhere between 2 and 3. So we are a little behind, but I think that it's beautiful. It's well proofed. We're very proud of the quality you're going to get. We hate when anything's late, but a couple of months, given all that's been going on in the world, we're not going to cry about it. Do you have it, Simon?
I do, and I forgot one other thing that I really am looking forward to seeing, which is our map packs.
Yeah.
So that one's
Those
still
are
sealed.
always so handy.
This is what they'll look like. Again, that's more kind of the production color, so you can see how rich the color is. Inside, there's like a little town layout, tells you what the buildings are. And then the maps themselves are these large laminated, nice and sturdy. You can write on them.
Look at that. It's gorgeous. Wait till you see the detail. Jonathan Taylor did the artwork. Simon put it all together. It works great with miniatures or the new pawns. We think you're going to love it. Everything you need to play is in here now. You have it at your fingertips. And more to come.
And what I've always loved about those style maps is being able to get like 2 so that you can flip them, one to each side, and then spread them out on your table and have a really impressive looking thing. And all you did was slap down 2 pieces of paper.
That's right. And they're designed to work that way.
Yeah.
Yeah. Then this is the Norse Foundry die roll.
Ooh, isn't that pretty? Yes, that will hold more than just our set of dice. I'll be quick to point out, but Yeah, that's from Norse Foundry that we've been working with to get that together, and the metal dice too.
And we don't have the metal dice yet, right?
No.
I do not know.
Okay. All right. Well, that's fantastic. What was that?
I think that's everything.
Okay, great. I'm going to jump ahead just a little bit, Jody. Some of you have asked about Deadlands Dark Ages. That is going to be either later next year or the year after. So John Goff's working on it. We've been playing it for a while, but we have some other big stuff we need to get done first, like the companions, and make sure that everything's compatible. So it's coming. It's going to be amazing. John Goff wrote it. We want to make sure the art is suitably creepy and atmospheric for something called Dark Ages. So that's on the way. We'll talk about it more next year.
And immediately after this panel, so in 40 minutes, we're going to raid the other channel for the Wild Die podcast, and John Goff will be on that panel. So
yeah. Okay, Jody.
Okay, so what I'm on here to talk about is not really like the most exciting thing in terms of like a new release, because it's not a shiny new book, and it's not a new box set, and it's not any of these things. But for the people who come to our website, and especially people who are new to Savage Worlds and are trying to figure out what products do I need to get into it, everything requires that core rules book. Is that right? Or, where's the test drive rules, which we just released this past week? If you haven't found them yet, they're on our main page. Go try them out. What we wanted to do is to rethink our process of bringing people into our game. So we are redesigning the website. That's a project I've kind of been heading up. And that's, I've got no timeline to give you because 2020 and especially the election have kind of turned us topsy-turvy. So I don't have anything that I can say about it other than it's really exciting for us. It's going to look great. It should be so much easier to navigate. It's going to be a little bit more product forward rather than news forward. So if you aren't already a member of our newsletter list, go ahead and sign up, because that way, like you do now, you could get that email directly to your news, to your inbox, and you'll get the news every single week. So the news will still be on the site. It's just, that's not what people come to our site for. They come to our site to find the products, right? Or to go to the forums, or to look up, how does this licensee thing work? So that's the focus of the new website. And we've also got something pretty exciting that we're working on installing. They're actually, the web team that we're working with is creating a new plugin just for us. They are designing it from the ground up, and it's going to be a crowdsourcing plugin on our own site. So now this is not replacing Kickstarter. Don't worry about that. We're still going to use Kickstarter for really big projects like the big Deadlands lines and anything that we want to draw a whole lot of attention to. But we can't but so many Kickstarters in a year, and it's really slowing down our production process. So if we can have our own crowdsourcing on our own page, similar to what they did recently with like Hasbro's page, right? That I thought went fantastic. So I can't think of the name of the game right now. It's just escaping my mind. Hero Quest, yeah. So if you saw their Hero Quest crowdfunding on their site, it's kind of going to be a little bit like that, where you can come to our site and say, yes, I absolutely want the next thing that's coming out from Pinnacle. Sign me up. You'll get that, and you'll be in the queue to get it. And, and we already get that funding ahead of time like we do with the Kickstarter, but it's not being managed by Kickstarter. It's not limited by Kickstarter to how many projects you can do. So I'm excited about this crowdsourcing plugin. We just have to, make it work. So there's plenty of production time that's still going to be involved here. A lot of that's going to be behind the scenes. And I, can answer questions about it, but I think that's pretty much self-explanatory there. Let's see. Where were we going from here? Oh, that's right. We were going to try to have Sean on to talk about Savage Rifts, but he is under the weather. So he sent in a little something. Did you want to share that, Shane?
Yeah. So our next source book for Rifts is Atlantis, and Sean wanted me to share that it will include tattoo magic, reams of biowizardry, and undersea equipment comparable in scope to the player's guide itself, the true Atlantean race, the tattooed warrior framework, stone master framework, etc. The book's plot point campaign deals with the heroes leading a slave revolt in Atlantis and making tough decisions as the vile minions of Splugorth attempt to thwart their plans. Gotta love Rifts.
Oh yeah, and if you missed it, last night's Savage Rifts game that was launched on the Zoe Twitch channel was fantastic. It was so much fun. I encourage you to go to their Twitch channel or go to the Peg Inc. Twitch channel and watch that.
Zoe being?
Oh, sorry, Zombie Orpheus Entertainment. Sorry, just when you use these acronyms all the time, like PEG, you're like, what does that actually stand for again? Oh yeah, Pineapple Entertainment Group.
I'm never gonna live this down now, am I?
Okay, so I think that is most of our spiel. So we're going to open the floor up to questions, and then we'll throw it to whoever is the right person to answer them with whatever question you have.
Great. So
there's nothing off limits.
Anybody on Crowdcast, you can click the Ask a Question button. That gives us the easiest view of that, and we already have a couple coming in. First question is, from John O., what kind of things can you do with the new Strongholds rules?
So I think the coolest thing about them, you do it as a party. So you build your stronghold, and you do it by the things you want to add to it. So if you want to add a chapel to it, for example, you do so, and that chapel will give you special perks for your party. But I think the neatest thing about it is it also triggers stronghold adventures. So part of the cost of having all this is things will happen. So maybe in fantasy, for example, maybe a monster ravages the kingdom. Well, you are the guys that own the stronghold. You're the ones that have to go deal with this stuff. And if you don't, that has consequences too. So it is a way for you to get extra abilities, and it leads to adventures where you essentially pay for those abilities. And so far, it's looking pretty cool.
Nice. Next question. Can you say more about the Legend of Ghost Mountain? What is the setting, and how will it be released?
So, it's going to be released, we think, in this boxed set, which will have a booklet in it. I'm not sure how many pages yet, somewhere north of 48 to 96. And the pawns, and probably a map inside a thin box like we showed with Headstone Hill.
It'll have cards.
And cards, right, for the archetypes. Yeah, so the setting is you are the Ghost Wardens. You and the other player characters have undergone training and a test to become the guardians of the portal to the underworld. And something goes wrong, and not only are you the guardians of it, of course, you're the ones that have to fix it when things go wrong. So let's see, I don't want to give away the plot. One of the cool things is, besides the setting itself, and it's Ghost Mountain is where this portal is. It's this remote mountain fortress where there's a giant Stargate looking kind of thing, and souls go in and out of it, and as Ghost Wardens you can see that and know what's going on. But one of the really neat things about the characters is, rather than doing like Mantis School or Monkey School or something for your fighting, your key powers are actually based on emotions. So you might follow the path of sorrow or the path of joy and so on, and there are cool little powers that go with that. So I think we've taken the tropes of martial arts movies in this, the supernatural martial arts movies in this vein, and added something cool and new that I haven't seen before. And of course, Daryl Hayhurst wrote it, and Daryl is the biggest enthusiast of this stuff in the world, and it really shows. When we played it, it was brutal and vicious and terrifying and a blast.
So Shane, tell them about your crit fails on the side of the mountain, because I love crit fail stories.
Oh Lord, there were so many. I don't think I can without giving something away. So,
well, I just remember there was one that you lost your horse. It went off the side of the mountain.
Yeah. So I was playing Fire Maiden Zhao, and I was trying to find out who was inside this curtained palanquin while we were passing on a very narrow mountain ledge. And I did indeed critically fail a riding roll. And my poor horse, Smokey, went off the side and plunged to its death. So yeah, that was unfortunate.
Never name your horse.
Never
Yeah.
name your, never paint your miniature. Never name your horse.
I was gonna say last time you guys asked me, my horse was like no name or something because I wanted to get out of naming it and getting attached.
Yeah.
Oh, Shane, I found your checkmate. So last night you claimed that the better the terrain, the worse the game. Carl Kiesler, man. Carl Kiesler, checkmate.
Oh, yeah.
Mic drop.
I don't know. Carl's stuff's all paper. Yeah, okay, you got me. You win. Carl's terrain is great, and Carl's great. For those who missed it, back when I used to do a lot of wargaming at Historicon and Cold Wars, we had a maxim: the better the terrain, the worse the game, and it was almost universally true. There was this beautiful Iwo Jima island with like the lacquered pools of water and real coral and trees, just gorgeous. One of the worst games I ever played. Awful. 4 hours of my life I'll never get back. Okay, what else?
Next one. Will there be mini settings in the companions?
No.
That was.
I mean, we've got the 32 pagers for that. Those are pretty much mini settings.
Yeah, and I mean, let's say no, but like in the sci-fi companion, for example, the Rigelians, they're a faction. We want to show some factions like that, so they're kind of a setting, that we merged with Last Parsec, but officially and really no.
Nice. Let's see. Will you be supporting Foundry Virtual Tabletop?
It's already on the list. I know that the Virtual Tabletop team is already developing things for them. So I don't think that there's anything out for that yet, or if there is, it's unofficial content. But the Virtual Tabletop team, headed up by Aaron Acevedo and Dr. Amy Marshall, definitely has that on their list.
And I think they got a big guided tour from the Foundry guys recently, and they loved it. Yeah. There's a lot of great platforms out there. It's really just where your comfort level lies. Fantasy Grounds has always been great for us. Learning curve's a little steep, but super powerful. Roll20 is really easy to get into. We have plenty of stuff up there. Foundry and Spectral is the drive-through one, I think. There's a lot of choices, and we're supporting all of them fast as we can.
Nice of them. Any chance of giving us perhaps within a quarter of when the companions are expected?
So fantasy will certainly be first quarter. Supers and horror are pretty much done. Sci-fi companion was redone by Sean Roberson, who does Rifts, and it really just needs, I need to go through it and make sure that it syncs up with everything else, but they're all in pretty good shape. We leave the monsters for last, and those are big chunks of the book, and they take a long time because there's so many of them. So when I say they're almost done and you go crazy and say, well, why don't you release them? We still have to do the monsters. We still have to edit them. We're getting all new art that we own this time. The art in the original companions and toolkits was generally second use stuff, which worked fine for the time. But we have a theme now, and Red and Gabe will be making their reappearance in each, and there will indeed be something special at the end of each book with Red and Gabe. That's already plotted out, so I think you'll like it.
That's kind of my favorite part about the new Suede was that little Red and Gabe stuff. That was just, it was handled so well. Very nice. Has Peg ever considered a post-apocalyptic fantasy setting in the spirit of AD&D's Dark Sun setting? From Gregory Oatmeal.
Well, Hell on Earth has some of that. A true post-apocalyptic fantasy like Thundar, which I wish we could get. We haven't yet. One of the reasons why is because one of my friends and early mentors from TSR, Tim Brown, did Dragon Kings. And while I don't think it's being supported now, it's still out there and it's excellent, and you can go get it right now.
For Savage Worlds.
For Savage Worlds, right.
Yeah.
I think there's a D20 version as well. I'm not sure which edition. Probably not 5th. But that's really cool. It even has a soundtrack. Tim is a rock star. He's an actual rock star. So he did a soundtrack and a ballad and everything for it. Super cool. So nothing like that on our horizon at the moment. If I ever get the Thundar license, though, by God, we're doing it. I'll find a hole for it.
Nice. Before the next question, just letting the game masters know, we're also going to start drawing cards for you guys to see who gets to choose first. We've got 10 copies of Dawn of the Daikaiju for Roll20. We've got 3 copies tonight and 2 tomorrow of the Rifts Tomorrow Legion Player's Guide. 3 copies of the Deadlands Lost Colony, A Billion Miles More, and 3 copies of 50 Fathoms Fire and Earth, all for Fantasy Grounds. So if you use Roll20 or Fantasy Grounds, it's Dawn of the Daikaiju, Rifts Tomorrow Legion, Deadlands Lost Colony, or 50 Fathoms, or you can take a PEG coupon. So just letting you guys know what your choices are when we start doing the cards. Next question, what is the future support for Lankmar?
We have a 32-pager in the works for that right now. That is it for the moment. We're kind of waiting to see some things with the estate and other stuff that's happening with the property, but not a whole lot other than the 32-pager right now.
Perfect. I've got a question for you guys. What is the next Kickstarter that PEG is going to launch?
ETU Study Abroad.
There we go. Right answer.
Very
Thanks. Let's see. Come on, chat. Give us some good stuff.
And ETU Study Abroad will be a booster, like we did with Lankmar, the Savage Seas of Lankmar, and Iron Gate for Last Parsec. So it'll be here's the book, here's the extras you get. There won't be all the stretch goals and stuff, because we know it's going to be a small one, but that's okay. It's still a far better way for us to reach people and deliver. Kickstarter is. If anyone's curious about how Pinnacle interacts with stores, we sell to stores, we sell to distribution, we love them, always have. But the truth is, a lot of stores, and this isn't even really COVID related, but they're full of board games, right? Board games are still, I don't know what the numbers are now, but last time I asked, which was probably last March or so, our primary fulfillment center told us that there were about 50 to 60 board games being released every week. So that's an immense amount, right? It's hard to believe that, but that's what they say. So the stores, those are our quick turnarounds. People play board games easier than RPGs. Stores carry D&D, Pathfinder, and whatever the store owner likes or the local group asks for, and that's awesome. That's great. We understand it, but we're making stuff. We got to get it to you. And for us, Kickstarter or other crowdsourcing sites like the one we're going to start on our own they're the reality for us, and we don't mind it. We like it. It lets us interact directly with people, see what people like and what they don't like. It's much safer for us. If we're waiting on questions, the brief story is when I started Pinnacle in the early 90s, you printed a whole bunch of stuff and you prayed it sell. And at the time, the distributors would order pretty well, but they wouldn't pay you. And then Magic came along and all the distributors suddenly had money and they would pay on time, but they didn't order very much because they wanted to flip through or burn through CCGs. That was what was big at the time. Then the D20 glut hit, distribution changed again. PDFs is what saved us, having a way to sell things direct, especially to people overseas. And that kind of carried us through into the crowdsourcing era where we could deal direct, as did the rise of the internet, Amazon, etc. So that's, in real short form, kind of the story of Pinnacle and why we do so much direct these days.
And on the Savage Cruise, you mentioned that Pinnacle was going to explore a different crowdfunding platform than just Kickstarter. Do you want to talk about?
Well, we've looked at several. We have friends that run their own, and we like those too. But we like being in control as much as we can. Some of the stuff you'll see coming from us in other venues, we're going to do ourselves just because we're tired of waiting on people to publish our fiction, for example. That's why we do our own Wendigo Tales. Same thing with crowdfunding. Even though there's some great choices out there like Game On from Black Book Editions, good friends of ours, we're still going to do our own, so we control it, set it up, do everything ourselves. That's where our future is right now.
Let's see. Comment from Twitch from Musab Osman says, "Love what you do, guys." So just sharing some love on that.
Thank you.
Let's see. Oh, Tyler Shoulders wants to know, when's the Savage Pizza arriving? we did not get this event catered. Sorry, Tyler.
Yeah, can you send me one?
Right? Let's see. Oh, no one realizes how great Savage Worlds is until someone talks about it, especially ETU and Deadlands. Of course, we love it. Oh, yeah, Tyler's laughing at us. Anyways, let's see. Holler. What is expected for Holler? What are we looking at on coming out? When's the Kickstarter? Maybe what's going to be in the box?
Okay, so Holler will be a traditional box set, much like Lost Colony or Deadlands. It'll have the book, screen, bennies, pawns, archetype cards, dice. What else, Simon? Anything else?
You got it all. That was it.
That'll be it. Well, we're going to do the whole kit and caboodle. Our next Wendigo Tales actually leads off with Holler as well, and it's a kick-ass story from Tim. I mean, the guy's just a fantastic writer, and his Minnie May character. Why don't you tell us a brief anecdote of playing Minnie May, Jess?
Minnie May. Oh man. Well, Minnie May talks with her fists.
Yeah. What is she? What is a gouger?
Minnie May is a gouger, so that means that she makes her money off of like fighting in like rings. So she kicks butt for a living, literally. And the term gouger, I believe, comes from gouging out your opponent's eyes. So it's pretty brutal, but you know I love playing her. She's right up my alley.
Right. If you've ever played with Jess,
that's right up her alley.
Right. Gouging was a real thing. Now our Minnie May is a little more heroic than that, but gouging was a real thing they used to do in Appalachia at the time. It's horrible.
Well, it depends on who plays her.
Fair enough.
Nice. Let's see. Any other good stuff? Let's see. We've done the Rifts. We've done Deadlands. We've done Holler. Any other secrets you guys want to reveal on what's coming up?
You know, I think one of our biggest secrets is right in front of us right now. It's engaging Chris, Dustin, and Chelsea in running the games that they've been doing for us. What other cons besides Hollerween, Chris?
So the next one that's coming up is we're going to support Andy Hopp's con Off the Cob, and God, in this last few months we've done 6 or 7. I think we did 2 cons in the UK. We did a bunch of domestic cons. So if you guys are out there and you're running an event, get in touch with us at Savage Worlds Online, and we'll try to help you guys promote. Try to give you some support from Pinnacle, and just recognize that you're out there. You know, just we see you. And get you guys in the loop on what's running. And this convention, we tried some interesting things with Rifts. Rifts is one of those product lines that's got decades of history, and there's a whole lot of content out there for it. And Pinnacle is really kind of supporting that heavily with content already out and future content. And the way we've run games, in Colorado and kind of at some of the other conventions has been anyone can show up and run what they want. And then we kicked off a Deadlands living campaign. It was a lot of fun, but it was very informal. We had our game masters kind of agree that we'd accept each other's players, and the players would level up, and that ran fantastically. But with Rifts, we're looking at can we bridge the gap and see if a different strategy works? Can we try more what the other living kind of campaigns do and run specific modules with pre-gen characters or your own characters? And so we've experimented some with that. The all day tomorrow, there's a Rifts track. So those of you who, and that's already sold out. So there's going to be 3 different events tomorrow. There's 2 tonight. They're kind of one-shots. They're really fun and spooky. But all day tomorrow, the characters who are in multiple of those events will get to level up their characters and see how that kind of works out. And so we've got some ideas, and just looking for your feedback on how we can continue supporting Savage Worlds at events. And we've done a lot of crazy cool stuff. This COVID's put a little kink in the chain, but we've done the Savage Cruise this year. We have plans to go to Deadwood that are still on the table. We actually talked with the hotel today. They called us up and were very eager to see if we'd be joining them in 2021. And that's actually exciting since we canceled this year, but we actually are able to hook up with the Doomtown folks this next year. So we're going to coordinate with them on a date. So we'll have Doomtown and Savage Worlds in Deadwood at some point. And just got to figure out when is safe and when is fun. And now we know that we definitely have to do the mine tour because Shane is scared of dark, cold claustrophobic spaces. And but rootin' tootin', good time, like go on horseback riding, just do other kind of Western fun stuff there besides Savage Worlds, and just kind of be a little bit more community of event, versus just all at the table. So we love the games, but it's fun to do a little bit more and meet you guys. The obviously Savage Cruise, we're going to be looking about getting on a boat again, and then also other kind of destination trips that are fun. But also kind of going back and looking at what are the big conventions in the country, and how can we support them? It takes a lot of work to put on a Savage Saturday night, and dealing with those conventions is a job in and of itself. It's very hard to get attention at something like a Gen Con. And so if that's still viable, we'll find a way. If it's not, we'll find another way to figure out where can we get you guys and meet you where you're at and where you want to play. So this last year we did a slew of conventions, and I got to help Jody move her tables around a couple times as some free labor. And that's
So in essence, what we're trying to do is find places where you guys and gals can actually play the game, right? So right now, it's tough to get together in person for a lot of people, of course. So online is big, but we think online is big forever, right? Especially, we're not Dungeons and Dragons. It's not instant to find a group in your hometown, but we're up there in the top 5, I think, a lot of times in most municipalities. And if you can't find local groups, then you can hop online and play either with people just through pickup groups at Roll20 or Fantasy Grounds or whatever. And then we hope to have more curated play, like we've done this weekend. So you can get on and play some Deadlands or run your crazy Savage Willy Wonka or whatever coolness you've got in mind.
Yeah, you putting the final touches on that, Mark. It's happening tonight, right? Like that's after.
It is.
Yes.
I'm playing Savage Willy Wonka, a post-apocalyptic nightmare, in just about an hour. Can't wait.
Post-apocalyptic.
Pernicious nids.
Yeah, make fun of me for getting. Tyler says it's now Pizza Entertainment Group, and apparently since it's Pinnacle Pineapple Pizza Entertainment Group, that pineapple is now on pizza. Decided.
I can't do it.
Fruit does not belong on pizza.
I'm okay
Absolutely
with it.
perfect.
I'm okay with it.
That's probably the most controversial question we're going to have tonight, right?
I'm on this side. No fruit on my pizza.
More for me.
Yeah.
We got a question. I'm not sure if you guys know the answer, but any more plans for Paul Wade Wiggy Williams doing anything more for Hellfrost?
Yeah, that's a licensee. You'd have to ask them.
Now that Suede has some miles under the tires, is there anything that doesn't play the way you thought it would, or are considering tweaking?
Yes, we're going to update the stun rules. We're going to make them a little easier to get unstunned. So you'll see that errata either next week or the week after.
Oh, man.
It's not a huge change, but we're gonna reduce it just a little bit, relax it a little bit.
That happened to me in one of the games, and I was like, done.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's really hard for D6 guards to break out of or something. So I think the essential change is that the distracted only lasts for the first round, not all the rounds. So we'll have it out there next week or the week after, but it'll be a little less. It'll be a little more merciful.
Yeah.
You are a merciful creator. Any chance on the upcoming UNA Space 1889 being dual-statted for Savage Worlds?
You'd have to ask Ulysses.
Okay.
They own the entire property now. We're very happy to see that. Darryl Hayhurst, again, is working on that, and I know that he's creating an original system that we're all anxious to play and try with him. If they do a Savage Worlds version, I don't know, but Ulysses does have the German Savage Worlds license, so we'd love to see it.
What support for Rippers Resurrected in the future?
So should I?
Well, we do just have 2 things that came out, like
We do.
Yeah.
the expeditions that just came out. So it's not like we've been ignoring Rippers.
Well, I'll tell you what. I'm going to spill the beans because
Oh
I
no,
like to drive Jody crazy.
because you do this to me.
I do. It's also funny because Jess doesn't know it's her next assignment, but
Well, now I do.
we're gonna put the Ripper's Expedition in a boxed set with pawns and the actual cards and everything, because I got to tell you, I ran Ripper's Expedition Amazon for the crew here pre-COVID, and I hope you guys had a good time, but I had a fantastic time. And just making it up as you go was actually, or as the cards, told you things happen, was really fun for me.
That was fun.
It's a little tougher in Roll20 unless you're really prepared, or any VTT, Fantasy Grounds or whatever, unless you're really prepared for all the things that can happen, because the encounters that come up from the cards might bring any number of different foes to bear, and if you're not set up for it, well, you just got to use blank counters or something, which you could do, but you don't have a map in VTT or whatever. Whereas in person, I could draw it on my battle map and throw out orcs for Piranha Men or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Nice. Flash Gordon, any future support?
Yep, we have an adventure written by Scott Woodard and pawns that are coming for it.
Nice.
Archetype cards.
Oh, hey, Jody, do you want to talk about what's happening with the Pinnacle website and the new upgrades that are rolling out sometime soon?
Well, I did talk about that earlier. I think we had to get kicked off the channel there for a while, but yeah, I think that it's and some of the people in chat have joined us since then. But my news there on the new website is that it'll be more product based and more geared towards bringing new people in towards joining our community, so that they'll be able to find it immediately. Like, okay, this is where you start. You start with the core rules, and then from there you can go here and so on. Which it's I think it's going to be a better model going forward than our news focused base right now, but it's still in production. And then our super secret project is that we're moving a crowdsourcing plugin. It's being built from the ground up on our own site, so that we can handle smaller projects. We'll still do Kickstarter. Don't worry, Kickstarter, we still love you. Don't worry. So that we'll do smaller crowdsourced projects on our own site, and be able to keep those projects coming out faster. That's
actually, and one of the other really nice things with the plugin is you'll be able to crowdsource whatever new book is coming out, right, or new product. But you'll actually be able to order stuff off the store as you do so, an entire Pinnacle store, which is a big deal for those, especially overseas, who need to bundle everything to save on shipping.
Yeah.
Hey, I have a comment real quick before we answer a question. I'm sorry, Jody. Did you have something else?
No, go ahead.
Okay. So I've been playing in a couple of the games this weekend, having a fantastic time. Can't wait to play in Mark Gacy's game in just a few minutes or an hour. One thing I've noticed, this platform is new to a lot of the game masters who are running games for us, right? Some are running on various platforms. Some are just doing voice. Some are trying to do the full experience with miniature tokens and so on. If you're a player in these games, I'm going to ask for a favor. Help your GM. This is new for a lot of people. They may not have mastered all that technology yet. They may not have mastered how to maintain a flow of communication when people's microphones cut each other off, and it gets kind of stilted and awkward sometimes. So, the community I know and love of Savage Worlds sits around the table and has a great time. So I would ask that you bring that same atmosphere and attitude towards your virtual games for these fantastic game masters who have volunteered to do this, put all this time and effort into running it, and help them out and make, that way you'll have a good time and everybody at the table will have a good time. Because we just can't go around and set everybody up in a strict format to make sure everything works and police everybody, and that's not our style anyway, right? So we're an adult community. We try to help each other and support each other, and I would ask that you do that.
That's perfect. And on that note, everybody who's a player in chat tonight, you guys will get a coupon from Peg. And if you are watching this later and you were a player at the convention over the weekend, we're going to send you out a feedback form, and anybody who feeds out the feedback form, we value that input. We will shoot you back a Peg coupon as well. So the links are on the games and on the tabletop events already if you want to start filling those out. But we will email everybody personally just to get to your feedback because we appreciate that. And over on Twitch, Yuri's on, who's Callie, says hi.
Yuri!
Yay, Yuri and Kelly.
Wants to know, Deadlands Dark Ages, do you know what quarter we're looking at for that one coming up?
I think it's going to be, probably about this time next year.
So good
That's
time.
my best guess.
Saving Throw Show says hello, and the there is an announcement there. So there is now a Savage Worlds category on Twitch, and because the con crew is looking at broadcasting these events on Twitch, we're paying a little more attention on that. So if you have a Savage Worlds stream, get in contact with us. We will support you. We've got a bunch of new friends who've just logged on, but the PEG Twitch is twitch.tv/PEGINC, PEGINC. And I think we've gone from 0 to 100 and some followers in the first day. And so that's great. Keep that up, guys.
That's how Jody drives.
Me too.
Yeah, with the van full of like 400 pounds of tables. Yeah. So if you guys are putting out Savage Worlds content, get in touch with us, savageworldsonline@gmail.com. And so we know how to support you. We'll host you on the channel when we're not running content. And we'll find ways of, bringing you into our events and helping promote you guys too, because, we like to raise all ships. So they do get in contact. Oh, and Clint is now answering questions in chat if there are any rules questions. Let's see. Oh, here we go. From David. Probably our last question, because we've only got a couple more minutes. But stay tuned, guys. After this broadcast is done, remember there's a panel with the Wild Die folks. Wild Die Harder with John Goff, and then all the game masters who commented, we'll get your cards, and then we'll be in contact with you in order that we draw your cards to decide what kind of VTT help you guys want to pick out. So we'll take that off stream, not to waste anybody's time. But last big question: what are any upcoming Weird Wars products?
That one I'm not going to answer just yet. There won't be anything in 2021. After that, there is a plan. But we have so much coming in 2021, we're just not going to be able to fit it. And we're going to make an announcement in January that's just going to knock people's socks off. But we don't want to talk about that now, because this weekend is Hollerween, right? And it's all about Tim Early's Holler. And that's what we want to make sure everybody knows about, because it's one of those properties that it's not a license, right? It's not something we already know about. And Tim's got such a great, unique, cool spin on it. We really want people to see it, see what it's about. We believe in it. That's why it is a license. We licensed it, but it's not a known license. And we'll tell you more about other stuff next year. Weird Wars, however, you won't see anything new until 2022.
And then tomorrow at 1 p.m., all your questions for Tim Early and a bunch of other fun people who have either worked on or are running Holler this weekend is going to be 1 p.m. Mountain tomorrow, Saturday. Will be a Q&A with Tim Early. So bring all your questions for Holler then. And you have to put up with me too, because I'm running Holler on Sunday. And other than that, guys, we got one more minute, so we have just enough time to hand it off to the Wild Die folks. We appreciate you coming, and we will see you tomorrow at 1 p.m. for the Tim Early Q&A. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thanks.